Okay, this is the answer key for 10-3 worksheet number 2. All right, so we're going to start by distributing. So I'm going to take the square root of 6 to both parts. All right, and now when I take the square root of 6 to the 2, I'm going to have a 2 on the outside, and the 6 is going to stay on the inside. Plus, and then here I'm going to take the 6 times the 2, and since they're both inside, I'm going to multiply and get 12. Now the 6 is going to break down to 2 and 3, but nothing will pair up and move out. On the 12, I'm going to take this to 3 and 4. 2 and 2, the 2's are going to pair up and move out. So right now I have 2 root 6 plus the 2's on the outside, and I have this 3 left over on the inside. So it'll be 2 root 6 plus 2 root 3. And we can't add those together because they have different square roots. All right, number 2, I'm going to distribute the root 5 to the root 3 and get root 15. I'm going to distribute the root 5 and get 3 root 25. Again, multiply insides with insides and outside with outsides. So now on this one, the 15 will break down to 3 and 5, but again, nothing will pair up and move out. On this guy, you can break it down to 5 and 5, or you can just say, look, the square root of 25 is 5. So in this case, I'm going to get the square root of 15 plus 15. All right, next guy here. So I'm going to start by distributing. So I'm going to get negative 12 on the outside and 9 on the inside. And then I'm going to distribute to the second part there, minus 12 on the outside and root 3 on the inside. Now on this guy right here, the square root of 9 is 3. So I have negative 12 times 3, or negative 36. On this guy, the 3 doesn't break down, so I'm just going to leave it as minus 12 root 3. And that's going to be my final answer. Okay, number 4, I'm going to go ahead and distribute. So I've got negative 10 root 3 minus 8 root 18. Now the 3 doesn't go anywhere, but the 18 will go to 2 and 9, and then 3 and 3. So the 3's pair up and move out. So I've got negative 10 root 3 minus, now since I had an 8 on the outside, I'm moving 3 out. 8 times 3 is 24. And then I have this poor little 2 left over right there, so root 2. I cannot add these up because the square roots are not the same. Okay, so in this guy, we're going to FOIL. So I'm going to go ahead and take the negative 3 to the 2 and get negative 6. Negative 3 to the root 3 and get negative 3 root 3. Now I'm going to distribute this negative 2 root 3. So I'm going to get negative 4 root 3. And then I'm going to get negative 2 root 9. Now, the square root of 9 is 3, so this is really just saying minus 6, okay? Now, in the middle here, I can go ahead and combine my same, like square roots. Since they're both square roots of 3, I can put those together. And so I'm going to have, oh, and I guess I could also be putting these together as well, the negative 6 and negative 6. So I'll have negative 12, and then when I combine the square roots of 3, negative 3 and negative 4 is negative 7 root 3. And that's going to be my answer there. Okay, on number 6 here, I'm going to go ahead and distribute. So I get negative 4 root 25 plus 8 root 15 minus the square root of 15 and plus 2 square root of 9. Now the square root of 15 is 5, so negative 4 times 5 would be negative 20. It'll be the same thing here. The square root of 9 is 3, so 2 times 3 is 6. And then if I look here, I can go ahead and combine the square roots of 15. 15 does break down to 3 and 5, but nothing will pair up and move out. Now there is a 1 in front though. So I really have got 8 minus 1, so I have 7 root 15. And then I'm going to go ahead and combine the negative 20 and 6 together, and I'm going to get a negative 14 when I do that. Again, order's not important, just as long as that you have both parts. All right, number 7. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and distribute and get 10 root 12 minus 10 root 15 plus 6 root 20 minus 6 root 25. Okay, so let's go down and start breaking stuff down. So this will go to 3 and 4. 2 and 2, so the 2's pair up and move out. So I have 20 root 3 here. On the 15, this will go to 3 and 5, so nothing will pair up and move out. So I'm just going to leave it as negative 10 root 15. On the 20, this is going to break down to 4 and 5, and that 4 will break down to 2 and 2. So now I multiply the 6 on the outside by the 2 and get 12 root 5. And then on this last guy, the square root of 25 is just 5. So I get 6 times 5, or minus 30. So now when I'm looking at this, these all have different square roots. Okay, so I cannot add them up. So this right here is going to be my final answer. On number 8, we're going to start by foiling again. So I'm going to get negative 5 root 25 plus 3 root 15 minus 10 root 15 and plus 6 root 9. So now the square root of 25 is 5. So I have negative 25. It'll be same thing here. The square root of 9 is 3. So I've got 18. And then I'm going to combine the square roots of 15. Now keeping in mind the square root of 15 does break down to 3 and 5, but nothing will pair up and move out there. So when I put those together, I get negative 7 root 15. And then I'm going to go ahead and put together the negative 25 and the 18. And I'm going to get a negative 7 when I do that. Okay, on this one, just combining like square roots in this case. So I've got negative 2 root 5 and 2 root 5. So those actually end up canceling out because the negative 2 plus 2 goes to 0. Anything times 0 is 0. So the only thing I have left here is negative 2 root 3. Okay, on this one, we need to make sure that we break down first. So 12 will go to 3 and 4, and then 2 and 2. So pair them up, move them out. So I have negative 4 root 3. On this guy, I'm going to break this down to 2 and 4, and then 2 and 2. Again, 2's pair up and move out. So I have the minus square root 3 in the middle here. 2 times 2 is 4. So I have minus 4, and then I have a 2 left here, root 2. All right, so now I'm going to combine like square roots. So when I put those together, negative 4 and negative 1 is negative 5 root 3 minus 4 root 2. And that's going to be my final answer. All right, 28. Let's go ahead and just start breaking this guy down. So I know 4 will go in there, and I'll get 32 when I do that. And then 32 will break down to 4 and 8. Now, I'm not going to take the 4s down any farther. It's fine if you do. You can go ahead and say that this will break to 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. And then again, 2 times 2 is still going to be the 4 that we have here. So I'm just pairing up right here. Now, I do still need to break down this 8 though. So it would go to 2 times 4, and then the 4 will go 2 times 2. So I have 4 and 2 moving to the outside. All right, so 4 times 2 is 8. And then on the inside, I still have this 2 left over. So 8 root 2 is going to be my final answer there. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to go ahead and break down. This will go, whoops. This will go to 4 and 5. And then the 4 will go to 2 and 2. So 2's pair up and move out. Since there's already an 8 out there, it's going to be 16 root 5. Okay. All right, on this guy, let's see. I know a 2 will come out, so I'm going to go ahead and start with 2 and get 108. I'm going to break this down to 2 and get 54. If I do 2, 27. So 3, 9, and then 3, 3. Okay, let's see what we got here. We got a pair of 2s and a pair of 3s that are moving out. So I know that I've got a 6 on the outside. On the inside, I still have this 2 and 3 hanging out. So I've got 2 times 3 is 6 on the inside. Now my X's, I have 3 X's, so I pair them up, move them out. I've got 1 pair on the outside and 1 guy left over on the inside. Now with my Y's, there are 4 Y's, so that's going to give me 2 pairs and nothing left on the inside. All right, next problem. All right, so I'm going to break this guy down. Let's see. I can do 5s. I know 5 will go in, so let's do 5 and 30. Oops, that's a 3. How about 5 and 35 and then this will go to 5 and 7. So 5s pair up and move out, so I get 10. I have 7 left over. Now on my x's, I only have one x, so nothing pairs up and moves out. On my y's, there are 2 of them, so I pair them up, move them out. I have 1 y on the outside. Okay, on this factor. All right, so this is kind of that hot mess one, so all we can do here is pull a GCF. So I'm going to pull out a 5. And then if I'm looking at my variables, I've got x's in all of them. So remember, we always pull the smallest. So I'm going to pull x to the third. So I get 7 x to the third plus 2 x squared y minus 3. Now this is not a quadratic, so we're done. That's as far as we can go. Okay, so on this one, I'm looking for factors of negative 24 that add up to 5. So 8 and 3 kind of pop in, and then 3 would be negative. So I have x plus 8 and x minus 3. Okay, on this one, it's a quadratic with a number out front. So I'm going to go ahead and start my list of front and back. So let's see, 3 and 8 and 4 and 6. Okay, so I'm looking for something inside outside that will give me a 14. So if I look here, 1 times 6 is 6, 4 times 5 is 20, and then if I make this negative, this will give me a positive 14 in the middle. So 1, 5 combo out front, so 1m, 5m. I've got a 4, 6 combo in back, so 4, 6. And then we know that when we multiply this 6, we want that to be negative, and we want this 20 on the inside to be positive. And so that's going to be my answer. Number 18, okay, this guy is a difference of squares. So I'm checking, can I square root? Do I have subtraction, and can I square root? And the answer is yes. So the square root of 9m to the third is 3m. You have a plus or minus. And then the square root of 16n squared would be 4n. And 4n. All right, so this one is asking us to write it into slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b is where I need to finish. Okay, but if I'm looking at this information here, I've got a point and a slope. So guess what? We are going to be starting in point slope. Okay, so go ahead and write your information in there. Y minus my y value is 5. My slope is negative 3/2. And then x minus my x value, which is negative 4. Now I'm going to go ahead and make that double negative a positive. And since I do need to get it into y equals mx plus b form, I am going to go ahead and distribute, and let's move that 5 over to make that happen. So I'm going to distribute that negative 3/2 to both parts. So I get negative 3/2 x minus, and then when I multiply 3/2 times 4, I get a 6. I still have y minus 5 on the other side. So now I'm going to add 5 over to the other side, and y equals negative 3/2 x minus 1. And that's my final answer. Okay, so on this one, we're writing, again, slope-intercept form. So again, we're going to be y equals mx plus b is where we're going to end. And the information I have is a point and perpendicular. All right, so we have to figure out what our perpendicular slope is. So parallel, they were the same. Perpendicular is opposite reciprocal. So you're going to flip it. So it's going to become 9 over 1. And then you're going to change the sign and make it negative 9. So my perpendicular slope is going to be negative 9. And then remember, we just throw that out. So I have got y minus my y value, which is negative 4. My slope is negative 9. And then x minus my x value, which is 1. I'm going to go ahead and distribute. So I have y. I'm going to go and make this a plus 4. So y plus 4. Negative 9x plus 9, and then I'm going to subtract 4. So y equals negative 9x plus 5. And that concludes this answer key.